The End of Psychological Fragmentation by Jason Gray, December 19th, 2025, 6025, Anno Lucis. RZN ARC Psi.01, Integration and Coherence Layer. Fragmentation was not a flaw, it was a defense. Human minds did not fracture because they were weak. They fractured because the environment demanded it. The overlay required people to feel one thing and display another, believe one thing and obey another, desire one thing and suppress another, remember one thing and deny another, be one person at home and another everywhere else. Fragmentation was the only way to survive contradiction without collapse. The mind did what it had to do. How the overlay taught people to split. Fragmentation was engineered through chronic misalignment, reward systems that punished authenticity, social norms that rewarded performance, institutions that separated identity from truth, economic pressure that split values from action, trauma without space for integration, speed without reflection, and noise without meaning. The self divided into roles, the one who complies, the one who dreams, the one who protects, the one who endures, the one who hides, and the one who performs. None were false, they were incomplete. Why psychological unity was impossible before. Wholeness requires safety. The overlay never provided it. Without safety, the nervous system stays vigilant. Emotions cannot integrate. Memory fragments. Identity hardens into masks, and presence collapses into management. Trying to be whole in a hostile field was not enlightenment, it was self-erasure. This is why forced positivity, premature forgiveness, and identity bypassing caused further damage. Integration cannot be demanded, it must be allowed. What changes after the return? The returned world restores the conditions that make wholeness natural. Emotional expression is safe. Truth is not punished. Pacing is humane. Relationships are stabilizing. Memory can surface without consequence, and identity can evolve without threat. Under these conditions, fragmentation loses its function. Parts no longer need to protect the self from itself. They begin to rejoin. Integration is not merging, it is cooperation. The end of fragmentation does not mean becoming one note. It means becoming one orchestra. Each part retains its function. The protector becomes discernment. The performer becomes expression. The dreamer becomes vision. The survivor becomes resilience. And the child becomes curiosity. No part is exiled. No part is erased. They simply stop competing. How integration actually occurs. Integration follows a predictable sequence. Recognition. Parts are noticed without judgment. Permission. Parts are allowed to exist. Listening. Their information is received. Contextualization. Their role is understood. Reassignment. Their function updates. Alignment. Parts coordinate instead of collide. This happens gradually, quietly, and without spectacle. People do not become new. They become undivided. The end of pathologizing the human mind. Much of what was labeled disorder was context-induced fragmentation. In the returned world, distress is not immediately medicalized. Difference is not immediately diagnosed. Intensity is not automatically suppressed, and variance is not treated as pathology. Support replaces control. Care replaces correction. Medicine returns to stabilization, not normalization. Relationships after fragmentation. Fragmented people related through projection. Whole people relate through presence. After integration, communication simplifies, reactivity decreases, boundaries clarify, intimacy stabilizes, and manipulation loses leverage. People no longer seek others to complete missing parts. They connect to share, not to compensate. Children and the prevention of fragmentation. Children in the returned world are not taught to split. They are allowed to feel fully, ask freely, change openly, disagree safely, and grow without role fixation. This prevents the formation of protective fractures. Children grow into complexity without dividing themselves. The final sequence of integration. When psychological fragmentation ends, identity stabilizes, anxiety collapses, inner conflict quiets, clarity becomes default, creativity increases, compassion deepens, and presence strengthens. The mind stops fighting itself. When the mind stops fighting itself, the world stops needing to fight it. You were never broken. You were divided by an environment that could not tolerate wholeness. The returned world does not fix the human psyche. It removes the conditions that fractured it. And once those conditions dissolve, the mind does what it always wanted to do: become whole. Jason Gray. Oh man, what an incredible concept for truth not to be punished. I've been punished for acknowledging the truth my entire life, and it continues to this day. The idea of all of our different parts integrating into one orchestra is beautiful. As humans, we're taught to deny so-called undesirable parts of ourselves, but they have a purpose too. Just because society may not accept them does not mean that they're not important and necessary. A healthy society needs healthy children. Currently, children see too much, hear too much, endure things they shouldn't have to, and are held responsible for adults' shortcomings, thus forming protective fractures, leading to misalignment that carries into adulthood. And once the misalignment is carried into adulthood, too often the cycle continues and generational trauma is passed on and on and on. We have the power to stop the cycle. Humanity can do better for our children, for all of us. We can and we will move beyond the circumstances that fracture and embrace being whole again. We must.